Today, I'm going to try and teach you how to breed pea puffers. I've been decently successful in the last year or so breeding pea puffers. If you look in this tank, this is a grow out tank with a bunch of peas in here. There might be about 50 in here. You can see them all swimming around. These are probably about 6 months old, roughly 3 to 6 months old. I put all the different sizes together and just grow them out. And they're super, super cute. We're just going to talk about how to breed them. They're one of the smallest pufferfish in the entire hobby, so it's kind of cool to breed them, and seeing the babies is super cool. The original way I was breeding these fish was I would take my parent group. I bought 10 of these about a year and a half ago. I grew them up for 6 months, so at the stage they started breeding, I'd say they were around 10 months to 12 months old. I think they do take a little bit longer to breed, in all honesty. I think they take at least a year growing before they start to actually lay eggs properly. I might be completely wrong, but my most prolific group is full of fish that are about 2 years old. So this is my pea puffer breeding tank. In here, I've got 9 adults, and what I'd recommend if you want to breed your peas, most of the time when you buy them, at least when I've seen them, they are genuinely pea-sized. They actually do get quite a bit larger. They get to about an inch in size, a couple of centimeters, and you have to wait until they reach that size before you can start breeding them. What I would do, get a bunch, throw them into a tank like you can see here, just a 2-foot tank, grow them out, and once you start noticing a bit of breeding behavior, that's when I would start trying to intentionally breed these. The thing that people go wrong with peas is they don't realize the need for live food. I've heard some instances of people feeding their peas frozen foods. Cool. I found mine do much better on live foods, and the most common live food that I feed my peas is live blackworms. If you have a look here, you can see I always keep my peas with a permanent stack of live blackworms. So this blackworm patch is just going to sit in there until they eat them all, and then I'll just keep topping it up and topping it up and topping it up. When it comes to sexing the peas, it's pretty easy. So if you get like 6 peas or 10 peas, I'd recommend getting 10 peas to start off with if you're going to try and breed them. If you buy 10 of them as babies unsexed, what'll happen is 1 or 2 males will form in the group, and then they release a pheromone into the water, and this actually stops all the other peas becoming males. And I find this to be pretty true. I had 3 out of the 10 peas that I originally bought turn male, and the rest were all female, which was a great ratio for me. Okay, anyways, into the breeding. So in here, this is just the observations I've found. I'm yet to completely master breeding peas. I've just scrounged together a few babies. What I've got in here is a sponge filter. I use a sponge filter in all of my tanks. I've actually got a heater in here. I don't know if this is entirely necessary because I have bred them at lower temperatures, but I like to keep them warm. I don't know why, I think that they just breed better. We've got tons and tons of live food, that's like the most important thing. And we've got a spawning area. So this is how I've been doing it recently. What I used to do was I'd take these 10 peas that are in here and I would move them from tank to tank. So I'd put the peas into a tank with a bunch of spawning mops and then move them a week later and let the babies come up. I actually found that firstly, that was very stressful on the peas. I found it didn't work as well as I would like, and these are egg scatterers, so I think that this method's actually working a bit better. But this is just a container in here. You can see in this container, I just have a ton of spawning mops, and literally this is how you breed the peas. So what I do, keep all the 10 fish in here, feed them up heavily on live foods. They'll get super excited, they'll go in, they'll spawn, and they spawn like crazy, especially once you get a really good group going. From here, it's super, super easy. I just take this container out once a day and check for eggs. So, pull this out, have a look here. You can see all the spawning mops there. I've got a rock down here just to keep this container from floating. And what I'll do is shake out this mop, try and get all the eggs that are in here to fall to the bottom, like that. And you can see, this is super promising. There's actually peas still swimming in here. So I'll make sure there's no peas still in this mop. I've actually found my peas are very bad at fertilizing their eggs. But yeah, so here's the peas. You can see in my hand how large they are. There's like a nice big fat female there. Females are going to be fatter from the top, and they're not going to have that same color. Here's a male. See the difference? Like, he's much thinner and he has deeper colors, and yeah, he's skinnier, and they've got like a yellow belly with a stripe. I don't want to stress them out much, but like, see that yellow belly with a stripe there? Yeah, so that's a male. So we're going to put these all back. I think they do better in larger numbers. So if I just had a pair of peas, I'm not convinced they would breed as well as they do in a group of 10. I think that they much prefer to have companions in the tank, and makes them feel a lot safer. So, and then down the bottom here, there's a ton of eggs, man. Here, let me sift off some of this water and we'll have a good look. There we go. We'll sift off this water. Oh, dude, there's heaps. If you look, zoom in the bottom there, that's where they all are. You can see there's a few that have gone white. You see all the white ones there? But then you also get the clear transparent ones, like, yeah, so there's like the clear ones. And you can see they start to develop. But there's, yeah, lots of infertile ones. You can see they're not super good at fertilizing their eggs. Well, just mine aren't, at least. But this is only about 3 days worth of eggs, and there's at least 50 in here. I found I'm not the best at raising all of these peas, and I'm not really too sure why. You can see there's a really developing one there. There's probably someone out there who's figured out a way better way of hatching these eggs out than me. I haven't fully got it down pat yet, but I found a decent way of doing this. So I like to do this very similar to how I've been breeding my Cories, with a drained down tank, and I just try and keep things as easy as possible. I don't have time to be nurturing these eggs every day, putting them in a tumbler, blah, 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 blah. So we're gonna take these eggs to hatch them out. And over here, we've already got a tank ready for them. This is the tank we're gonna be using to hatch out the peas. You can actually see in here, I've been adding peas for the last week, and there's already some hatching out. You have a look here, dude. You have to zoom in hard. See there? You can see it at least, can't you?
Yeah, I can catch it.
Yeah, so there's one hatchling there, and then there's another couple here. So, that little dot there. You can see there's another one down below as well. Yeah, so there's already babies in here. Another thing you're gonna notice is I've got shrimp in here too. Hey, there's a little one trying to swim. See that? How cool. So what I'll do is take all of these eggs and I'll continue to add them to a tank like this. Even though there's hatchlings in here, I'll keep adding eggs until we've got complete free swimmers. So this will be the last lot of eggs I add to this hatching tank. But I'll literally just go ahead. I could pick out all those infertile ones if I had time, but I don't have time. I'm just gonna take them and pour them in here. So we'll just add them in like that. The reason I add the shrimp in here is the shrimp, I find they eat all of those infertile eggs, and I don't think they mess with the fertilized eggs. I think the chorion layer, which is the outside layer of the egg, is too strong for these cherry shrimp to actually penetrate. But I think once the eggs start to decompose and form fungus, I think the shrimp actually eat them. So either way, they keep the tank clean. From here, what I do is I'm not gonna start feeding this tank yet, but once I start seeing little peas swimming around like properly, not stuck to the glass, but actually like foraging for food, I'll start to feed live baby brine shrimp. So we'll go to the next stage of growth, which is back over here. This is the batch before the one you just saw. So I'm actually feeding these now. If you come in, here, perfect example. Once I start seeing babies like that, that's probably a day-old pea puffer there, I'll start to feed live baby brine shrimp. I've already fed the peas today. I'll put some B-roll up and whatever of how I feed them, but basically that's it. So I like to keep it shallow just to to keep them nice and concentrated to like one spot of the tank. If I fill the tank up, like this is starting to get pretty full, and these peas have to swim a long distance to get their food. Like I've heard Corey from Aquarium Co-op talk about it. What is it? If I have to run a mile to eat a potato chip, I'm not gonna get like the calories I need to grow. It's the same for these guys. So keeping them in like a nice confined environment does help them a lot. And then from here, you have to feed them live baby brine shrimp. There's like no alternative for it. I think that when they're really small, they might need to eat infusoria, but I don't feed any of these tanks infusoria and I still get quite a few of them raising up. I think that as long as your baby brine shrimp's a nice small species, they do grow okay. But yeah, so I feed them once in the morning with baby brine shrimp. They'll start to grow, and from there, I literally feed them baby brine shrimp until they're this size. So all the way up until they're this size, I feed them baby brine shrimp, and then once they can start to take live blackworms, I then feed them that. And then from there, the process just continues. Like these guys will eat blackworms, and yeah, I have seen them eat frozen food, but I just find the trick to all of your pea puffers is always live food. So hatching out live brine shrimp and hatching out or culturing worms or buying in live blackworms. But that's how I breed them. So I'm sure there's a better way to hatch out these babies. I think there's probably some people out there who've worked it out perfectly. I think they'd breed really, really well out in an outdoor pond or something like that. But here in the fish room, I just don't have the time to constantly baby all these little pea puffers. I don't really have a better method of breeding them yet. So that's how I breed them. Hopefully I make an updated video and figure it out more. But as you can see, it's been quite fruitful. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video.